Welcome to episode 70 of the Making Geeks podcast. This is the podcast for makers, dads, and geeks. And we have our fabulous foursome with us today, Mr. Josh Price.
Hello, everybody.
We also have Mr. Mark O'Keefe with us.
Good evening.
And Mr. Wes Swain.
Hello.
And I am Sean Jolliker. Episode 70. We're kind of getting up there now.
We're pretty geriatric, aren't we?
I'm ready for my Social Security check with some retro pay.
Some of the podcasts in our space are starting to kind of fade away.
It's a tough thing to keep up with.
It is.
It's hard to have endurance when you're 70 in.
Well, there's pills for that.
It's true.
Thank you, Geritol.
That's not what I was thinking about. So what have you guys been up to this week?
Halloween.
It's Halloween. Jinx. How was your Halloween?
I think mine was better than like the past years. I don't know why. I think the temperament might have been better. Maybe it had to do with the World Series, and more people focused on that instead of some of the more nefarious Halloween activities, I think. So that might have turned out a little bit better for me here this year, especially since my local team was in the World Series but lost.
No. Sure.
If only I cared that much, but... How about you, Wes? How was your Halloween?
It was pretty good. The kids are getting into it more. Samantha and I worked on... She was Ray, and we worked on a 3D printed staff of hers that she was quite happy with. She got to use spray paint for the first time. She was very timid at first, but then she started getting into it, like doing all these getting all these poses and stuff while spraying, kind of like a crazy graffiti artist. So I don't might have created something accidentally.
I was going to ask you.
It could be the origin story. Yeah.
After.
I was like, here are the ground rules for these spray paint cans, but she was digging it, and she used super glue and stuff, and she was getting into it. And then she saw some two different kinds at Target that you could buy, like one in the cheapo Halloween area, then like another in the toy, and she's like, mine are better than both of these. I was like, yes.
That is the response you want from your kids.
Yeah. It was great. We use real leather or pleather, I don't know, but it's from Michael's. It feels real. And we use actual snaps on it, and use actual white linen for the padding area and stuff. It came out pretty nice. And then Grant was supposed to be Kylo Ren, but he switched within the last 30 minutes, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna be Spider-Man. I'm like, all right, well,
messed up the motif.
Yeah, exactly. He had the costume already, but and then Samantha, the day of, she's like, why didn't you do anything Star Wars, Dad? Come with us. I'm like, oh, dang it, missed my opportunity. I could have been like General Grievous or something awesome, but I totally slacked off.
That would be ambitious.
I was about to say, as a last-minute idea, you went with General Grievous. Just got that laying around.
That's complete West fashion, though, too.
It is. So
now, I don't remember if I already asked you, but in Ray's staff, did you build in a hidden lightsaber? So when she turns a year or two older, and you reveal it's been here all along.
That would be cool.
Deacon was thoroughly impressed with her costume. He saw the pictures. He thought it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
She pulled it off pretty well, the whole ensemble. She was marching around and stuff, and doing little poses and stuff. It was pretty cool. So she got into it, and that was pretty much it. How about you, Mark?
Thea dressed up as Elena of Avalor. I made nothing because she's kind of too young to realize any of it yet. She just likes her cartoons. So we took her to a couple houses, helped her up the stairs because she's not too great at that yet, and took her home. Although I was proud, I watched an episode of Batman with her, and then it was over, and then she looks at me, she goes, "Oh, Batman." I was like, yes!
Yeah, Elizabeth really likes Alex Steele videos. So if I'm ever watching an Alex Steele video on YouTube, she runs over because he's all animated and he's and she'll run over real quick and put her head on my chest and just like won't break stare the entire time. I was like, you've got a weird crush already on some British blacksmith. We had a cool time here in Kentucky. Our family went out with Bob's family and had just a whole horde of kids running up and down their neighborhood. A bunch of ninjas. Yeah, we took Lily. So my daughter, Margaret, and your daughter are about the same age. This was the first time that she like wanted to go up to a house kind of by herself, and like I had to carry a lot of bags, and like they would just go up and like get a piece of candy in their hand. And she was pretty adorable. Like she would get a piece, and then like from that person's door, I would stand in the street, and she's like, "Daddy, Daddy!" And she'd come like running every single piece of candy. She was so excited. But then she would have like she got a piece of candy, and she wouldn't put it in the bag, but she would put like, and she'd carry that to the next house, and she'd get a new piece of candy in her other hand, and then she would come back to me with like both fistfuls, and then she would look at it, and she would put the one she liked least in the bag. So you could always tell like her favorite candy like reigned supreme for like a good 4 or 5 houses. And then she'd get one that was better. She's like, ooh, and then she put the previous winner in the bag and keep going on. And it was a good time. Kids were like, the older kids were obviously like super fast, and then the smaller kids were lagging behind, and it was a good time. It was getting chilly, so I wore my old flight helmet because Deacon did the same thing. Wes said, why don't you guys dress up? I'm like, okay, touche. So I had my old flight helmet that we got when we went down to Florida. It's kind of perfect because it was cold, and it has the ear cups that I could hear like all the helicopter talk through. And so I had like some earmuffs on, and I had a little face shield, and I was nice and warm in there. And Bob put on his shore trooper helmet and walked around, and every dad in the neighborhood stopped him and what is that? Where'd you get that? Did you make that? So it was fun. So what are we talking about today, fellas? We posed a couple questions in our Slack page. Like those ideas?
Yeah, I say run with it.
Okay. So I saw something on Facebook recently that was, I don't remember what it was, just some random thing that had a question that wanted people to comment below. But it was, what is something simple that you are bad at? And I had to stop of all the things I think I'm not very good at. None of them may be very simple. And then I tried to run through the list of like, what is comedically simple that I kind of suck at? Like, if you can't tie your shoe very well, so you just like, you slip them on because you just don't like tying your shoe. I don't know, something like elementary level kind of dumb that you have just not gotten better at or not cared to get better at as an adult. So this is the realm, this is the scope that I'm kind of putting this question in. And I can start if I need to with my embarrassing shortcoming.
It's always good.
Okay.
So don't get
Well,
the
since we've
license in
been-
that bus.
Yeah. Since we've been traveling, like when Tiff drives the truck and she would drive the RV around, like I would help navigate because I'm better at navigating. But in my good navigating skills, I am terrible at being able to communicate left from right, like to other people. I get those mixed up all the time. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, holding up like which one makes an L. You can't do that because then it's obvious that you're just flat out stupid. And it's so harmless. It's like, oh, just take a left right there. And I know in my head, and then like the mechanics of my future brain are going to the right. And then she gets there, I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, you told me to go left. I'm like, crap, I did it again.
I wouldn't expect that from you, actually.
Yeah, I routinely mess up. If I'm telling other people, like I know where I'm going instinctively, but if I have to communicate left from right, it's probably a 55 to 60% chance that I'll get it right. It's not very good.
I'm kind of the same way when you have to say it out loud. I get that.
I feel super stupid because it's
Well,
like,
you're not always
you get
you're- Yeah, you're not always describing it. You're not always talking out loud, going left or right. You're in your head. You're like, I gotta go that way. I gotta go that way. I gotta go that way. It's that side, this side, that side. When you have to say it to someone, you're like, which and a lot of times I look at my hand because I'm like, I write with my right hand. Which one's comfortable? Right, that way. So yeah, I do. I didn't even realize that. I do that too.
Well, when I worked as a survival instructor, we would use like Navy terms, like we would use port and starboard. And port and starboard somehow clicked. And I could get port and starboard like nobody's business, but normal left from right, I'm embarrassingly ignorant on being able to nail down left from right. It's super, super childish.
Well, maybe you just have to start reinforcing port and starboard instead of using left and right.
No one else will know what I'm talking about. And in French, like when I lived in Belgium, I had to speak French. I could get it in French, no problem.
Well, that's weird.
I know. I don't know what it is. Like someone else dethroned me for simple thing that you are not very good at.
Okay, I guess I'll go. I'm bad at keeping all my limbs.
But
Yeah, okay, that wasn't a good idea to begin with. Okay, so my actual response to this is I am extremely bad at wrapping gifts. Just simple boxes. And years ago when I worked for Disney, they had a very specific method for how to wrap a gift so you could hide the seams and you create like this nice presentation for whatever customer that actually paid for that service. And on several occasions, I was wrapping a gift, and the manager told me to stop and go back out on the floor, and that I was not allowed to wrap gifts anymore.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, and so even to this day, I will wrap it and try to fake it so that I have one good side, and then I try to hide all the other sides.
Do you try to do it correctly?
Yeah, I do.
You focus, and it's just like it's not one of those things that's happening.
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna say that I focus, but I do make an effort to make it somewhat presentable. But for some reason, I can't get the paper to fold the right way, and I'm not going to be patient enough. So I'll just fold it up, tape the sides. Okay, that looks like it's wrapped. We're done, and I'll leave it at that.
You're a bags and tissue paper kind of guy.
On most occasions, but for Christmas or birthday, I'll wrap. I'm sure I'll probably come up with others as we talk about more things. But who wants to go next?
I'll go. I cannot drive stick.
Hmm.
And I've tried.
But it's so easy.
And I've tried. I have tried a couple times. I haven't tried in the last 5 years, but all the times I tried growing up, couldn't get. Like I know the mechanics. I understand what I'm supposed to do when I'm supposed to do it. It's just maybe I haven't been thrown into it long enough, where it's like you have to do this or you're not going anywhere for a month, kind of thing. But I just my family never had any manual transmission, so it wasn't like a necessity. And then, of course, Catherine grew up with one, so it's always a constant, we don't know how to do this. And the one time I was kind of thrown into it, it was in Seattle when I visited my buddy Travis, who was stationed out there in the Navy. And I go out there with a friend of mine, and we were going to go out to Redmond, Washington to meet up with a guy and tour Microsoft game studios. And we'd be there at a certain time, and he left his spare truck for us. And it didn't even cross my mind to go over there. We get all load all our stuff in it. I try to start the car, it doesn't work. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, I was getting ready to text him. Like, oh. Like all the levels of realization. I'm like, oh no, what is this mysterious third pedal? Oh man. And I'm like, all right, I'm an adult now. I've got this. Come on, Matt, let's go. We have like an hour and a half. We have to be there. We got plenty of time. This is Seattle. It's like the hilliest city in like North America, practically.
Yeah.
How many times did you roll back?
Dude, I didn't even make it out like the main driveway. I started like coasting backwards, and I just started like I knew the highways we had to get on to get to where we were going. I'm like, we are gonna die. So I knew that we crossed like by Enterprise rent a car like a quarter of a mile up the road. So I ended up managing to get it back into the parking spot, and we walked to the Enterprise and rented a car.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, but that's becoming like increasingly forgivable these days. I think it's harder to find a stick shift or like a 5-speed vehicle.
But it's that rite of passage for a man, right?
It is true.
I miss driving a stick shift, actually.
Me too.
I've never even been in one to try.
Really?
Yeah.
I learned on one.
My friend had one, but I never drove his car. And God, in the past 10 years, I haven't even seen one.
You feel very like rally car, depending on what you're driving. Like we had a Ford Aerostar minivan that was a 5-speed, and that's what I learned how to drive on. And so I would try to like shift like I was in a stinking Formula One racer. My dad would get so mad. Like the stick shift was like 3 feet long because that van was so big. He was like, "Quit doing that."
Was it on the column or on the floor?
It was on the floor. It wasn't on the tree. It was on the floor. But yeah, that thing was a beast. And if it was on any kind of hill, you had to catch it quick because it was heavy and it was going to start rolling and you were going to crash into somebody.
I remember I used to balance it with the clutch on a hill, so I never had to use the brake. You just let up and go.
My first car was a 5-speed. An 89 Plymouth Laser Turbo, which I've never seen another one other than the one I had, and that car was fast, and it had a 5-speed, and you got to drive it like a manual car should be driven. A little short throw. It was fun. All right, Mark. You're up.
I'm trying to think of that simple thing that I'm really bad at. I'm bad at a ton of stuff. But the simple thing, I don't know. I guess for what we do, making stuff, I can't draw worth a damn. Like anything anymore. And I've tried. I've sat down and I just can't get it to. I can't focus my brain enough to make a shape anymore.
I'm not sure I classify that as something simple, though. Drawing is a unique skill that has to be practiced by a lot of people.
I mean, basic drawing, though. Like even the simplest of
like draw a dog kind of thing.
Like a cartoon too. Like my toddler will probably be a better drawer than me in the next year. Like I can't. Like I would, if you're on my team for Pictionary, you're gonna lose. Just the simplest of simple things.
Stick figures are okay.
Even those are a little wonky.
Well, take a step back from that. Do you notice that in the age of digital communication that your penmanship is getting worse?
My penmanship was never good to begin with. Both my dad. Oh wait, was it my dad or my mom? I can't remember. One of them yelled at me. They're like, "You're not a doctor. You're not allowed to have a signature that sloppy." But I mean, I still don't even write in cursive anymore. I just do the normal.
Sean, do they still teach cursive? Is that still a thing?
They've gone back and forth, and some schools do, some schools don't. I'm grateful that my son's school does, and if nothing more, so that they can actually read cursive, because a lot of kids aren't even able to read it anymore because they're not being exposed to it. So they actually have trouble making the connection of the letters.
Yeah, that I can see.
It's kind of the stick shift mind frame. Like you just kind of need to know it just in case you ever find yourself in that situation. But eventually, I think that situation, I don't know, is going to kind of go. You can't type in cursive.
Well, you can use a cursive font.
God, why in the world would someone do
then
that?
You wouldn't be able to read what you wrote. You're like, what am I typing? This is wingdings, right? Fancy wingdings.
That's kind of the problem I was talking about. Yeah.
Old English wingdings.
All right, as I'm looking around, I realize something else I'm bad at. I'm bad at cleaning up after myself.
I can get on that train.
Everything's a mess right now. And I don't know if that's just because I'm normally messy or I'm just in the middle of trying to do things. Wes froze. I didn't know. And with his finger up, I didn't know if he was telling me to hold on or not.
He did freeze a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think he's frozen again. Look at that goofy face he's making. There he is.
Frowny face.
Whatever.
All right, so I have one more now. We talked about penmanship. I'm amazed I've gotten as far in my educational career as I have in my lack of spelling ability. Like, I'm almost comedically bad at spelling words. And like homeschooling Deacon, we have spelling tests, and Tiff will she'll say a word to him, and then he has to write it and spell it. And I have to he's in the second grade, and I know it's oh, okay, you spell that word like this, but I have to stop. And I'm like, yes, that's how you spell that. And now I'm doing blog posts and stuff for Bob. I have to stop, and I'm like, don't make him sound like an idiot. Please, God, just spell these words right. And I was doing something for my master's, and I realized my computer was broken. Or not my computer was broken. Something in Microsoft Word, a setting had got messed up because I wrote probably 2 pages worth of writing and didn't misspell a single word. I'm like, something is wrong. And in fact, it was. And whenever I figured out the setting, the thing freaking lit up. I was like, no, dum-dum. That's not how you spell any of those words. My vocabulary is there, just I haven't caught up to actually writing those words correctly. So it's something that when Deacon does bad at his spelling test, I'm like, it's okay, buddy. It's hereditary.
It's especially tough at that young age because the logic of how a lot of words are spelled doesn't stay consistent across the language.
Yep.
And that is because our language is a combination of French and German.
Did you guys ever remember watching Gallagher, a stand-up of Gallagher back in the day?
Yes.
He used to have this bit.
Yes.
It was like C-O-M-B comb. B-O-M-B boom? No.
Oh.
Bomb. And it was just it would go on like that. And I remember I had to spell a word for Deacon because of that same reasoning. It should be spelled this way, but it's not. And I couldn't help but running through that whole thinking Gallagher bit about. There was some other joke that was, if you want to know why people hate the English language, lead and lead are spelled the same, and read and read are spelled the same. But if you were to read them, it would mess with your mind because you had to. Oh, you got to figure it out by context clues.
Yep.
But yeah, I suck at spelling. Terribly.
So, flip it. What are you good at that everyone else is thoroughly amazed at? Something that's super complicated that everyone else looks at you while you're doing it and you're going, wow, you're amazing.
I don't know if anybody have ever reached that level.
I think everyone's got that one thing that no one else does,
I think it's more along the lines of something that comes easier for you that may not be easy for everybody else.
Yeah.
And for me, that's easy because my career is based on it, where for some reason language has always been a little bit easier for me. Whether it was writing, reading, spelling, any of those things, I just kind of got lucky that way. And I'm not really sure why. My dad isn't particularly academic. He only went through high school, worked in a grocery store for his entire life. My mom was similar in a lot of ways. But luckily enough, he kind of enforced and encouraged a lot of reading at a really young age. although a lot of it, strangely enough, had to do with like reading street signs at a young age. And street names are really strange to begin with. There's not a whole lot of consistency in the way that those are pronounced either. Other than that, I do really think it is a good degree of luck, and then just reading a lot all through my adolescence probably helped. And then listening to a lot of George Carlin is also what I will credit for that. That's probably the primary one that comes to mind for me.
I think mine kind of goes along those same lines. Is I like public speaking. I really, really like public speaking, and I would say I'm pretty decent at it. I don't know why. I see that there's like the opposite of that, where people have this huge intestinal like fear of getting up and talking in front of other people. But it's never been a thing for me. Like I really like talking in front of a bunch of people, and I can pull things out of my butt and kind of like make do, you know.
We saw that in Boston.
Yeah,
we
Boston was super fun. But I mean, that was. I mean, Sean, like you have to get up and you have to speak in front of students every single day.
Yeah.
And for one of my jobs, I did the same thing. Like I had a 4-hour class I had to teach, and before that, like I took a lot of speech classes because I thought that they were fun. And I don't know, I was always big crowds and things like that seem intimidating, and that whole like, oh, if you freak out, picture people in your underwear. Like I've never had that. I've always been able to feed off a crowd and really enjoy getting up and talking in front of people.
That is a pretty specified or specialized skill that not a lot of people like doing or have even mastered.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It all goes back to that high school fear of being laughed at if you screw up. Yeah, I think that's why most people hate it.
Did I tell the story about the first talent show that I ever did with my band?
I didn't know any of that information.
No.
Okay, so yeah,
I didn't
was
know you were in a band.
Yeah, I was in a band in high school. We played a lot of cover songs. We had like a couple original songs. It was pretty much a cover band for popular rock stuff back in the 90s. And we're like, all right, we're going to play a show. And it was the Ethnic History Club talent show. Yeah. And I remember like my other 3 friends were freaking out. They're like, oh my God, we're about to go out on stage. We're about to do this thing. And I'm like, oh, it's not a big deal. And they're like, no, it's like, we can't screw up. I'm like, well, hold on a second. So like I ran out onto the stage and like went through the curtain, and like all the people were there, and it was this group full of like the African American students and like the Hispanic students, and then like the 4 parents that were there. It's like this was not a place for a bunch of white kids from Florida about to sing the Deftones. Like didn't match. And I was like, hey everybody, those guys are back there freaking out. I was like, we're gonna be out real quick and we're gonna rock your faces off. And I was trying to be stupid. And I went back in and I'm like, all right, everybody knows that we're going to, everybody's prepared for us to be awesome. Don't worry. And then we got out, we started playing, and we got booed so bad. And it wasn't because we were like, the quality was bad. Like, that was just not the audience. And I think that very first thing, I'm like, okay, no matter what I do, they're not going to like me anyway. They're not going to like storm the stage and, quarter me. They're just going to say boo, and I'm just going to keep playing because I'm louder than they are, and my bass is much louder than that person. So I think that like realization that if I'm talking to a group of people, I'm not going to say something so radical where the entire crowd is going to turn on me and charge me and like punch me in the face. Like they're just going to say like they're either going to clap or they're not going to clap. I'm like, meh, I'm okay with that decision. Like, so it just kind of gave me that peace that's like, I'm not going to be killed if I don't do a good job, or I'm just going to walk back off stage and be okay.
So who's going
Who's
next? Good? Whoever's ready to go next.
I'll go. I got 2 things. One's really old, and I'm probably horrible at it now, but I remember being when I was in high school, I was in the dumb kid science class. It was called Earth Science. No, not Earth. Was it Earth Science? No.
Probably.
I forget what it was. But anyway, And one day we started doing chemistry, and for the first like week, it didn't click. Nothing worked. And then one day it was just like everything made sense. And I blew through it. And I would love to like try and pick that up in some way, shape, or form because chemistry was awesome. But now it's just I'm linked with the CAD program, SolidWorks. That's just really that's one of those things that's like fun and looks hard, I guess.
It's drawing.
It's different type of drawing.
It's sculpting.
No, ZBrush is sculpting, and I'm horrible at that. SolidWorks is here's a square, here's another square. Okay, put a curve here. You know,
You're drawing with primitives.
It's drafting.
Yeah, pretty much.
But Mark, you realize that in art school, one of the first things they have you do is create figures using only primitive shapes, because everything can be reduced down to a square, circle, or triangle, or cylinder.
Well, that's funny you say that because whenever I'm trying to, there's been a couple times when I'm trying to make something or like reverse design it from just a picture or something, I look at like I try and find the simplest shape in it. Like, okay, well that's a circle with a little thing coming off of it, and then do all that. But for some reason, when I get into SolidWorks, it's just immensely easier for me.
Do this for a little experiment related to your other thing you said you were not so good at, just to try it. I've seen this a couple times in a book, and it has surprising results sometimes. Take a picture out of a magazine of something, like a person or an object, and take the picture and turn it upside down, and then draw what you see upside down on a piece of paper. Just go through the whole thing. Don't criticize yourself. Don't overanalyze it. Just go for like line for line, trying to copy it best you can, and then flip it back, both of them back around. You're probably going to be like flabbergasted as to how accurate it is. Just try that.
Give that a shot.
It's a weird mental trick, so that instead of focusing on drawing a figure, you're just looking at lines and shapes.
Yeah.
It's a right brain, left brain sort of trick.
Yep.
Your left brain tries to categorize like all these pre-downloaded images in your head, and so it's going through that filter before it goes out to the paper. So it's like skewing all your results, if that makes sense.
I like that.
So try it. It's fun.
Frank Ippolito talked about that when he was trying to sculpt. I think he was sculpting an ear. And he was like, do it upside down because your brain is going to try to start to sculpt or draw what you think an ear looks like.
Yeah.
When you don't really know what your ear looks like. And so if you do it upside down, it makes it something completely foreign. You pay a lot more attention rather than just trying to go off of memory.
Exactly.
It's pretty fun.
Yep. Try it for me.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess it's my turn. I guess art stuff has been my thing since I was a small kid. My dad drew and did art things. I had paintings and pastels and stuff of his that he did that are on my wall as a kid. Some of them are like freaky clown things. I'll have to show them to you. So some of them I couldn't look at for very long. But like you can tell the skill is there, and he did some other things as well. But that kind of influenced me a little enough to get me into it, and I think it really took off in like when I was 11 or 12. I kind of 10, 11, 12, something kind of clicked, and I was able to draw things a lot easier, and I kind of just kept at it for a while. I ended up skipping art too in high school, which is kind of cool. And then it sort of merged that with the digital stuff, and I kind of enjoy going back to the traditional sculpting and painting every once in a while. And it's funny, like in the last couple years with Samantha, when she was in preschool, they have like a craft thing you can do where the parent can come in and volunteer. It's usually two parents. They'll come in and do like a project for like a half an hour with the kids. And it was, I think it was like a Christmas ornament or something. And I was paired up with a mom, and there weren't many dads volunteering for this to begin with, just out of, statistically, there's not many stay-at-home dads and to participate in this. So I guess she assumed I was just terrible at either following directions, the other mom, or following directions or just doing basic art things. So she was like, "Oh, you're here to do this," and she was like doing things for me, like not trying to be insulting. It's just probably just her way of doing things, and I didn't really get a chance to like do anything creative. I was just okay. I'll follow along with you and help you out. And then she ended up that her child got invited to our birthday party for Samantha like a couple months later, and Samantha's like, "Oh, check out Grant's room or whatever," and like they go up there, and she made the connection that I was like the same person at that thing that she thought I had no idea what I was doing. And it's like, "Well, you did this," and that was a good moment. I don't get those moments very often, but it was kind of cool. So
She was sexist.
a little bit. I was like, yeah. But that doesn't really come up very often, like not like a lot of sitcoms where like the person, or like the from Back to the Future where he grabs the electric guitar and jams out and everybody's completely amazed. Like you don't have an opportunity usually to come up like, "Oh, I can paint really well," because that takes a long time. It's not like you like pop it out of your pocket or something. But that's my secret talent, I guess. That's not so secret anymore.
Dun, dun, dun. How much time are we going for?
We got 40 minutes. What are you guys geeking out about? We'll just expand upon those a little bit.
The ridiculousness of movies in November.
How so?
Got Thor and Justice League.
Yeah. And Punisher. And I still have to watch Stranger Things.
It was awesome.
3 episodes in.
I just
waiting
finished
for
it.
somebody to catch up or keep up. Not catch up. I haven't watched ahead, Catherine. But we just need to buckle down, okay?
You need to get your head in the game.
Priorities.
Yeah, that's right.
Tiff finished already, Catherine. Just saying. We got hooked on it one night, and we started watching it like right when the kids went to bed. I think we did like a 7-episode bender, and it was like
Oh my
2:30 in the morning.
It's like the whole run almost, isn't it?
I think there's 9.
Yeah.
But we
2
didn't
more
know that.
hours, honey. Come
We were
on.
like, holy crap, we should probably go to bed. We're like, the kids are going to be up soon. Like, you're not going to get any sleep. It was like, but I want to know what happens. It was really good. So are we gonna talk about any of these movies? Are we gonna schedule a time to talk about these movies? Spoiler casty.
I'd like to, eventually do all of them, but I think we're just going to have to do it on the timeline that we can end up seeing them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see Thor, hopefully by next week sometime.
I have a dilemma with Thor. My friends want to go see it, but Tracy wants to go see it too.
Oh.
So,
Incompatible groupings.
sorta.
You need to find a theater that has a daycare.
That's
Well,
a
we're-
brilliant
she's-
idea.
Is that a thing?
Should
No,
be.
but it should be.
They should have that room like in the back of some churches. Like when I was
It just has
young,
goldfish sprinkled on a table and VeggieTales playing in the corner.
I don't know if it's the same thing, but when I was a kid, I went to a church and they had a
Yeah.
glassed off soundproof room.
Yeah, they call it
Or-
the crying room.
Yeah, for parents with really young kids, so they wouldn't disturb the
Oh,
mass
I
from
got
everyone else.
It's
They should have the
standard in Catholic
same-
churches.
They should have the same thing for movie theaters. If you got a kid, you go to the glass room. You can get
Forget the
headphones.
kids. I want to put some people in there.
Yeah, yeah. You're too drunk. Go to the back room.
Oh my goodness! Did you see that? Get out of here.
People incessantly on their phones.
Yeah.
IKEA has done this. They have like a whole, you check your kid in and they play for the entire day and a half you roam around IKEA. So why haven't movie theaters caught on to this?
If theaters did that, I bet you more people would actually go to the movies.
But they got to hire somebody besides like the 14-year-old that's selling you $15 popcorn. They got to hire somebody semi-responsible or just put on a movie. I mean, you're at the stinking movie theater.
Yeah.
Yep.
You ever hear
What's
of
some-
A little
Gymnastics
mini
padding
kid
on the
movie
ground.
theater.
you ever hear of a comedian Tom Segura?
Yes.
Mhm.
Look up his movie theater baby bit. That one was really funny.
Okay.
I think you're onto something. They got movie theaters that serve you food, and we thought that was brilliant. Why haven't we have babysitters in movie theaters yet?
I'm still not a fan of those.
Okay, let's go kickstart it.
Mm-hmm. We'll be at that old, worn-down Kmart. We're gonna renovate it.
Well, you
do
see,
something with that.
no, you know what I'm a fan of. There was a bunch of producers who were shooting for this a while ago. You pay $50, you get the movie at your house
Yeah. you told us.
for like 5 days.
Not a fan.
Yeah,
I'm
me neither.
completely a fan because I get my own food, not the super expensive food from the movie theaters. If I want drinks, I have my own drinks, not the super expensive drinks from there. I can get my own popcorn. I can make a steak if I want to, and just sit down and watch it.
Do you guys
Now,
sneak food into movie theaters?
Absolutely.
So Mama brings her big purse.
I used to
Yep.
sneak whiskey in the movie theaters.
Used to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm realizing age is befalling me, and I am not recovering from drinking at all the way I used to. So I think it's time to.
Don't talk about age. I hit a milestone next week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost there too. But
Hmm.
yeah, things hurt longer. Hangovers are starting to happen.
Get all those AARP requests in the mail.
Oh yeah, I've been getting those a lot. That's a pain. Come get your hearing checked. My wife thinks that they're going for my dad. I'm like, no, I'm getting the AARP stuff. They know who they're sending that to.
Oh, dude, that was a joke.
Thank God my hearing is fine. I've really good hearing.
What?
Who's talking?
You have gigantic headphones in, though, amplifying what we're saying to you.
Those aren't gigantic. They're just covering my big, huge lobes.
Josh, what are you geeking out about?
Well, you might need to cut this out. Mind deliberating. I'm debating whether or not I need to say about the job thing, about the school thing.
You decide and let me know.
I want to say it, and I don't
You
want to say
jinx
it. I know.
I think we
Okay.
jinxed it last time.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't say anything.
I've been geeking out. I know that I've probably said I've dropped Bob's name way too many times, but I mean, I'm working there now. But today, the mid-century modern clock video came out, and that was the first time I actually shot video for one of his projects. And I thought it was kind of sloppy, but it was kind of neat. Like, we were reading through comments today, and there were a lot of people that noticed that there was something different about his videos, where it has pan shots and you can see stuff moving, and so it's kind of neat. Like, I was doing a bunch of stuff, and we were looking through the rough edit for the upcoming video, and Bob turned around and he was like, at a point I forgot that you were shooting video. He was like, it took him back, and he was like, when did I do that shot? Or what is this shot that I'm looking at? Because I frame a shot apparently differently than he does, or I get a weird angle that he wouldn't normally have an eye for. He's like, I liked it. He's like, but I didn't even recognize it because he would set up a shot, he would do the thing, he'd move the camera and do the thing. And so it's really fun. It was kind of neat to see, that was the first of an I like to make stuff video that I filmed. It was kind of neat to get some positive feedback.
It's funny you bring that up because I actually watched the video today, and at one point I noticed there was an over-the-shoulder shot. I'm like, wait, don't usually see Bob from that angle in that way, because it would probably only happen if somebody was standing behind him with a camera. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I know who's doing that.
Some weirdo creep in his shop who stole his camera. Yeah, it was kind of neat. So every Thursday gets a little more, I don't know, stressful. Not really stressful, but there's a lot more to do, because it's at a new company, you have a new product launch. but it's like every Thursday is product launch day. So you do all this work to finally put the thing out there, and then it's like, how's it doing? Is it doing this? And I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But yep,
Yeah,
it's been neat. It's been fun. And it's been really fun. So the people that listen to this show that know of Bob and his show, like, it is as fun as you think it is. So that's all I can say.
I gotta say,
John, what about you?
trying to no, just real quick, trying to find those, like doing the filming of your work is a pain.
Yeah, it sucks.
Oh my god.
Like I have to build my daughter a new bed this weekend, and Bob was asking me if I was going to film it. I'm like, no, it's so much better when you don't have to worry about that crap. That thing is going to be done in like an hour.
There's been so many times I started working on something and I'm like, oh wait, I have to put it all down, take it all apart, go set up my phone on the thing.
It takes a while to actually build that into your actual process.
God, it's a pain.
Because you'll notice you'll get like the early parts, and then you finishing, and then all the guts in the middle where you were just in go mode, you kind of forget.
Well, here's the other part. Like
Makes sense in the story.
sometimes with my phone, I'll hit record and then go and then come back and it didn't go. And then on the little cheapy GoPro knockoff that I got, it's shutting itself off now. So like I'll start going and then it's not recording and I'm like, oh, come on.
Is this your $40 4K?
No,
GoPro?
that wasn't 4K. That was just a $40 GoPro.
Oh, okay.
So I got a lot of stuff out of it. It's just for some reason it's turning itself off, and I don't know why.
It's better than my GoPro. I think I have a bunk memory card because it keeps giving me like data errors. Like I hit record and then like a few minutes later, as I'm doing something, like after I just did the crucial thing, it's like they're like SD card error or whatever. I'm like, seriously? It's like trying to repair file. Sorry, didn't repair. I'm like, really?
I'm going
It's a
to
bad card.
Ugh.
Yeah, you got to get the newest and best card
I
for those
have 'em.
GoPros.
I have like
Class
the
10,
Class 10 Samsung
Yep.
Uber Super Duper Schmooper
Extreme, whatever.
Extreme, yeah.
Yeah, 30 megabytes per second, all that junk, right?
Yeah, it's exactly one of those, but
It's probably just a bad card. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of already mentioned mine. Stranger Things is basically what I've been geeking out about. That took a good 3 or 4 days of almost like 2 to 3 hours a day of watching the show, and I just think it's a great show. It's obvious they're pulling from a lot of different properties, and they're being nostalgic and reminiscent, but they're actually doing a really good job with updating a genre that is kind of tired and old, and making it somewhat new and relevant again. And I would love to see them keep it going for another couple seasons, and then maybe evolve it into something else.
don't reveal anything about this character, but he's in the trailers. But do you think it's a little on the nose that Sean Astin is in it, or no? Since he was in the Goonies and like the whole series is based on that, if effectively.
I had that conversation with Tiffany. I'm like, so does the Goonies not exist in this world? Because
Yeah, so
I'm uncomfortable with that.
I didn't really think Goonies that much. I kept thinking of Samwise Gamgee, just because of his appearance in it.
Yeah.
And in fact, I didn't see Sean Astin in it. What I saw was Patton Oswalt, because that's who he looked like.
He's
He
looking chubby
does
there.
He does look like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was feeling pretty good about myself watching him on screen.
He needs to walk to
So-
Mordor a couple more times.
Too many second breakfasts. So
He took the eagle
Yeah, I
back home
didn't-
too many times.
that's like the Middle Earth equivalent of Uber.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see Paul Reiser. I haven't seen Paul Reiser in
He was
forever.
pretty good in it. He was pretty
He
good in
does
it.
You can't tell if he's good or not.
Well, I mean, it doesn't reveal anything.
It keeps
Now,
it going
I-
the whole time. You can't really
okay.
tell.
So I will say that David Harbour, who plays Hopper in Stranger Things, is the new Hellboy, because they're remaking Hellboy.
Hmm.
And I'm watching the show, and at various times I hear his voice and his demeanor in certain scenes. I'm like, yes, I see Hellboy now, and I actually think they made a pretty good choice. If they were, I don't know if it's a good idea to reboot it, but if they're doing it, I think he's going to play it in a he'll make a decent Hellboy. At least I think he has the potential to, based on size, presence, and his voice. So we'll see what happens. Wes, how about you?
I have been enjoying Mario Odyssey. I was in line at Best Buy to get that at 12:01 a.m. on Thursday, and haven't put as much time into it as I'd like to, but it's quite fun. Let's see what else. I've been doing the Art of Geek challenge over on Instagram with a couple other YouTubers, Handmade with Ashley and Donovan from the Beardless Man, and it's basically a monthly challenge. We choose something geeky, some pop culture thing to like base a build on, and just see what people submit. And
You're the first thing that comes up when you just type art.
Interesting. It doesn't surprise me though. Oh,
You got the market corner.
yeah, no, I'm just kidding. The first month was Star Trek, and then we had Thor last month, and this month I announced on there. I had a little video I put together for Justice League, so I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with for Justice League related projects. And it's pretty much it's essentially any DC character that's tangentially related to any of the main characters. So
Can I go back and tag my batarangs?
nope, it's got to be new. Got to be a new item. But I have an idea for a thing I might do. It's been on my list since I started geeksmithing, and I think the tools to do it now. I don't know if I'll have the time, because the end of this month is going to be cut short with my trip, and Thanksgiving and all that stuff. But maybe I can do it. I'll try. If it depends if my CNC machine cooperates, which hasn't been lately again. So yeah.
I want to add just one more thing in here. It's not necessarily something I've been geeking out about, but a project I've been working on that seems to be the never-ending project, and that's the basically the physical sign of my logo. And I had said like a week or two ago when Josh made the recommendation that the sign really needs to have lights. I gave it my best shot, and I got the lights on there, but it doesn't work. For it to really work, I would have had to have the letters raised off the background so the light can actually shine behind it. And I didn't have that set up beforehand, so I had to pull the lights out, and it's just going to have to do without. I did it. I put the lights in there. I had soldered the connections where I needed it. It lit up, and it wasn't going to work. It didn't look right, so I had to pull that out. But at least the project's done now, and I can edit the video and move on to something else finally and stop talking about this thing. There's a brief little update there.
I used my CNC the other day, too. I finished a custom order. Hooray for robots.
Yay. When they work.
I'm getting into it. I'm liking it a lot. Well, we would love to hear from all of you. Our inbox has been a little bit slow lately, so we're looking for some feedback from all of you that have been faithfully listening every week. Questions, comments, suggestions for the show, anything you like, we'd love to hear from you. So just go ahead to the contact page on the makinggeeks.com website and go ahead and enter the information there. And once again, all of our past episodes are right there on the homepage of the website where you can listen right there. Last week's episode was not on the website yet, but it will be updated soon. We had some technical difficulty, but that has been resolved, so everything should be back to working order.
For the emails, none of these other guys have watched the new Blade Runner. So all you Blade Runner haters out there, tell me what you thought about the new Blade Runner, because I want to talk to someone about it. So Donovan, this is to you. Write us an email and tell me what you thought about Blade Runner, because I want to talk about it.
Do we have enough mailbox quota available for that, Sean? If he was to write
Let's test it.
I'll make some adjustments so we can handle that flood of emails coming in.
Okay.
I'll get the hamsters working faster.
Good.
Mark's on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know why. I thought
Swallowed a bug.
Jesus. It has been a crap day. I apologize. My mind's not here. You can follow us and find us on all the social medias. You can find us on Instagram at Making Geeks Podcast. You can find us on Twitter and on Facebook at Making Geeks.
And we'd like to thank our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks. You guys are there for us when we need you, and we do appreciate it. If you'd like to help keep the show in the air, head over there and become a top patron like Mr. Seth Williams and get your name shouted out in an episode. If you're tired of hearing his name, then do something about it. Head on over there and show us some love. We'll show you some love. Thanks a lot, guys.
If you want to reach out to us individually, you can find us all over the internet. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Geek Builders, Geek Smithing, Asylum Designs, and the PAI Workshop. And we'd like to thank everybody for hanging out with us this week. Hopefully this week's topic allowed you to reflect on something that you suck at, and you can laugh at yourself in the comfort of your own home. So we hope you have a fantastic week, and we'll see you again next Saturday.
See you guys.
Later, everybody.
Take care.
Cha-cha-cha.